Business model analysis for entrepreneurs. This is the second video in the series. So the primary question that this video will help you, if you're an entrepreneur and if you're trying to find out, hey, is this new startup a good one for me? Or is this existing new company that I'm trying to join, is it a good one? Or if there's a new product that I'm building within my own company, is that a good product to be investing my limited time, limited resources? And to quickly recap, the business model definition is basically sum total of all of your decisions. In the first video, I said sum total of all of your choices. It's the same thing. Sum total of all of your decisions, the core business decisions, the trade-offs that each of those decisions have, that you make as the employee of the company or the co-founder of the company towards the path to profits, right? So sum total of all of your core business decisions and the trade-offs that those decisions have employed towards the company to earn a profit. That's the business model definition, right? And business models helps with building a strategy, which we've seen in the previous video. And we also saw in the previous video, customer value is technology and operations, go-to-market strategy, and path to profitability are the four areas that we've covered in the previous video. As to, if you want to understand the strategy, you understand the business model. And to understand the business model, there are these four areas. What's the customer value? What is the unique thing that you're doing so well that no other company, no other product out there is serving the need of the customer? Second, what is the technology that you are using? Is it able to scale? What's the operational efficiency that you have? Do you have unit cost of economics working in favor or against you? Do you have things outsourced, or do you build everything vertically integrated? Do you have a really good sales team that can go to market with an efficient channel? Do you have path to profitability? Meaning, are your customers willing to pay you money more than the cost required to build that product? So all of this we've seen in the previous video. Now in this video, we're going to share four new areas that is helping us analyze. Like you want to analyze a product idea or a new venture that you're trying to propose in your own company, or you want to join a startup, then you want a framework. And from first principles, there are four factors. First, you have to think like, what's money coming in for my product? Who's going to pay me? So revenue sources. What's money going out? So what are my key expenses? And third, is the engine that I have, is it, what are the success factors for my engine? So money coming in, my engine is efficient, and the money goes out. So those are the three areas. And then the fourth one is, for this entire setup to work, what is the size of investment that's needed, right? So customer value, technology operations, go-to-market, profitability is one lens to build a strategy. But then if you want to analyze, you can analyze it again with these four new factors, which is revenue sources, expenses, how critical your engine is in terms of success, and what is the size of investment needed for you to win. So understanding this is very important, because due to globalizations, technology advances, lots of private money coming in, there's lots of innovation happening. And so for us to understand which business model is better is very important. So understanding financial statements, like understanding the basics of accounting, cash flow, is very important, because if you understand those things, then you can make a right decision saying, hey, should I be outsourcing or should I be building everything in-house? Should I be having a sales team that's dedicated? I will train them personally. I will have them sell, or should I just outsource that too? So all of those decisions on what do you do has trade-offs. There's positives and negatives. And so each of these four areas we're going to go into detail in this video. So first one, revenue sources, money coming in. Money comes in through the unique product offerings that you have. So if you have the number of unique products that you have is your number of unique revenue streams. So that could be one product that's really big, that has a big impact, and that's the only product that you have. So you have a single revenue stream. You could have multiple products, multiple revenue stream. You could have interdependent products. You could have a loss leader product, wherein you have a product that is being sold at a loss, but then overall the follow-up products that are sold are at a much higher margin. So like a printer could be sold at a loss, but the cartridges could be sold at much higher charges. So you could have a loss leader. So you could have multiple products, and those products could be configured in a revenue model. Like how you charge, like that is different. You could charge through subscription. You could say, hey, there is a you pay me upfront for the month or for the year, and then I will give you my services like the gym membership, right? Or Microsoft O365. You pay upfront and then you get the service. Unit volume based. If you're a restaurant business, then you pay based on the number of items that you order. Advertising based, licensing based. Like if you are selling something that is patented, then you need to have a license to sell some of those. Transaction fee based, like brokerages. So there's different types of revenue models as to how you charge. So first you need to have the products that are chargeable, and then you need to have products that are configured so that you can charge them in the right mechanism that is fit for the customers to pay. So the many things to think about, like how would you scale your revenue sources? How would they change over time? How would your products work together? How can you reduce your cash conversion cycle, collection cycle? And how can you change your revenue models to work for you? There could be three revenue models. There could be three revenue products that could be unsuccessful, but the fourth one, if you combine the fourth with the three, then that could be the most successful one. So how you configure your revenue models, how you bucket your products is very important. So creatively, you can actually make your products work for you. For example, there's an example in this case where they share that the music band, they were not able to charge money for the music that they were producing, but they charged a lot more money on the live concerts. And so then they started making more money. They're doing more tours, and then they started selling more merchandise for those live bands, and eventually they made so much more money. So basically, you don't have to just think about one stream. You can configure your revenue models to make it work for you. That's the most important. Money coming in. Second, money going out. What's the drivers of the costs? It's fixed costs that don't change by volume. Semi-variable, variables changed by volume. Unit cost. Semi-variables directionally changes by volume, but it doesn't have a one-to-one mapping, like doesn't go proportional to the volume change. And non-recurring is one-off, one time, like a building purchase or like a big loss because of an earthquake or something like that. So there are different types of these costs, and so you have to understand them, and you should be able to break it down, like, hey, how much is my direct cost that the employees are having due to payroll, indirect cost because the employees using the system much more, so I have to pay for that system usage, inventory costs for the products or raw materials, product or goods that are built and now on the inventory, on the shelf that are to be sold, space that you rent out, the office space, the square footage, the marketing and ads to attract customers. So a lot of these cost drivers, so reducing these cost drivers, especially the large ones, very, very, very important. You could, be building things in-house, but you could also be building through partnerships. There are trade-offs, right? You give up control to some sense, but then you have a very low cash flow requirement. Your working cycle goes down, and your cash flow becomes better. Your return on assets become better. So depending on how much money you have to have a way to reduce your cost drivers as well. And then the critical success factors, your engine. Do you have the core competency as an organization, as a team, to be successful for the product that you're building? If you don't have the DNA to build the right quality, to build the right product in time, to actually ship that product in time, and you cannot execute as the need of the hour, you cannot capture the demand, then you're screwed. So better understand what are the success factors. What is the things that you need to be successful. You might need certain time and size of investments upfront, or you might be okay with staggered investments. You need to be very, very clear. What is your sensitivity analysis for the size of the company that you're in, the stage of the product that life cycle you're in. You probably want to capture growth at this point. You probably want to take it easy and actually perfect your product. Oh, you want to be, as a big company, improve your utilization or reduce your unit cost. So you need to understand, like, what is critically successful for you at this stage in your company to be successful. So understanding that, having that self-awareness of what is successful factors for me and my company and my team, that's very important. And finally, the investment size, right? This is a pretty interesting diagram. Take a look at this, right? over time you have to have investments. These are your cash flows, right? You keep burning cash. At some point you don't need cash anymore, meaning you have enough cash flow to cover for your burn rate, and then you start making money, right? And then your cash flow becomes positive, and at this point your cash flow break evens, meaning you've covered up all of this cost of investments here, and at some point you start making positive return even after break even. So how long it took for you to get to break even, how deep is your trough, right? How much money that was needed, this area under this area is very important. And how deep and shallow is your curve? Some might go even deep but then go up very quickly. So that's an important area to know, like what's your maximum financial need, which is this area, right? This area. What is your break even point? How long will you take towards positive cash flow, right? Which is at this point, but at this point you're positive beyond break even. So different types of business models require different upfront money, like software, retail, consistent investment, consulting, maybe a small upfront investment. So knowing how much money you need is very important. And decisions that you make to produce in-house, to outsource, to sell in-house, to outsource, very, very important towards your cash flow impact. And you might have to change based on how much money you have to make the right decisions. So we looked at these 4 areas in this chapter through first principles for analyzing revenue sources, key expenses, critical success factor, size of investments. But we also looked at how we can think of business model to build a strategy, like from a customer value standpoint, technology and operations standpoint, go-to-market standpoint, path to profitability. So you can think about this as thinking from first principles, like money-wise, right? This is all money-wise, and this is like product-wise. So there are 2 different ways to look at the business model, and hopefully these frameworks help us to become the pro people to understand business model. Thanks.